Shalom, it's Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet and Good Torah. So it's almost Shabbos Shuvah. So you may ask yourself, what is Shabbos Shuvah? So it's the very special Shabbos that we celebrate in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and it's the Shabbos of Teshuvah. So then you may ask, okay, what's Teshuvah? So Teshuvah, one of the main roots of the word, the shoresh of the word, is shuv, is returning. And the whole process of the shuv is when we find ourselves getting, chas v'sham, when we find ourselves being separated or more distant from Hashem, more distant from God, we want to return. And the process of teshuva is we feel guilty. If chas v'sham we did an avera, we did a chet, we made a mistake spiritually, we transgress what the Torah said, and we distance ourselves somewhat from Hashem. Hashem created this amazing thing before even he started the Maisa Bereshis, the whole creation. He created something called Teshuvah, and he gave us a pathway to return, to undo our mistakes. And then this very special time is called the 10 days of Teshuvah, the 10 days of Teshuvah from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. So we have this really amazing time where we can work on ourselves and improve and build ourselves to who we want to be for the new year, and become like better people, kinder people, and hopefully create a relationship that's closer to Hashem. So it's this amazing time, and then on a broader level, besides the personal level of our own teshuvah, is when are we going to do, what is it going to take to wake us all up? When are we going to do teshuvah as a nation? And it's really strange. Like the majority of the Jewish people are right now in Eretz Yisrael. So you have millions and millions of Jewish people in Eretz Yisrael. And then the other great population center of the Jewish people is here in America. And then you're right, there's Jews all throughout North and South America, in Europe. There's very few Jews in the Middle East anywhere but Israel now. And then, there are some Jews in India, and there's some Jews in the Far East. But the main teshuvah, it has to come from America and Israel and everywhere else, of course. But that's the main places where we're living right now. But what is it about America that how do we get so lost here? It's really strange. With probably most of the Jewish people here, I grew up going to public school, went to, university, college, and got a secular education, went to a little day school. I mean, I had the fortune, when I was younger, I went to a day school for a little bit. I think it was like kindergarten, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So I got a little taste. I went to a modern Orthodox day school, so I got a little taste of it. And but for the most part, most of our education was pretty secular. And it's strange because in some ways, America, it seems to be split into two, because on one side you have I think on the dollar bill it says both of these things. It says, "In God we trust." And you have that aspect of America where you have, the very first, right. The Bill of Rights is, the freedom of religion, that the government won't stop us from following our own religion. And that's a very powerful thing. And you have that tremendous aspect on one side. And then you have this other aspect of America where you have a nunc capidus, novo ordo secularum. It's all, what does that exactly mean? I think it's something like, announcing the birth of a new order, and secularum is just a strange word. I mean, it could be related to secular, like secular power. It could, sometimes they define it as the ages. I don't know. My Latin's not fantastic. But it does seem right. There's this other aspect of America, which is completely secular, and really, since it has no national religion, in a sense, the natural religion in a sense becomes atheism. And it's strange, and there's definitely this aspect of a secular culture replacing religion in America. So even though on one side, there's great power of people have the power to choose what they want to do, and no one's stopping us, from learning Torah, from building yeshivas, from building day schools. So so there's been an amazing flourishing in some ways of Torah, teaching in America, and then the whole Baal Teshuvah movement, where more and more people are starting to reawaken to Torah. But in some sense, it feels like almost like we have this like fantasy of like what America is. There's like the surface, like brochure, commercial propaganda, of what America is, and then there's maybe the reality of what it actually is. And it's strange because like July 4th, 1776 was actually, it was the 17th of Tammuz, which begins the 3 weeks of fasting and mourning for the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. And so it's strange. So if we're viewing this as a fantasy land, it's strange that it's that day. This nation was officially founded on that day, and that day became a great day of mourning because that was the day we were supposed to receive the 2 sapphire tablets from Moses, when he came down from Mount Sinai. But instead, the Erev Rav had constructed the Chet HaEgel, the golden calf, and tempted people to worship this avodah zarah, on the very day where we're going to receive these sapphire tablets written miraculously from Hashem's own hand. An infinite being carved out these tablets, and we're going to have this miraculous revelation of the Torah on that day. So instead of a miraculous revelation of the Torah, we had a golden calf. And maybe in some ways that is, maybe some essence of America itself. It was called the Golden Medina, the Golden Country, by the Jews in Europe. And there was a positive aspect of that people are very giving in America. Like, Americans generally like to give to all kinds of charities. So there is a positive aspect. Once again, it's this in God we trust versus, the secular power. It's, there is, very good qualities that a lot of Americans have. They're very giving. When there's a tragedy, Americans generally like want to help, want to donate, and you see the best of America. But it's strange because, but it's sometimes like, something shiny and gold, but it's distracting us from what's true, from what's real, from what's really important. And right, in some ways, it's like, I don't know, right? We had like, we had the freedom of like, we didn't have all the pogroms, no inquisitions, there was no major threats of violence, ongoing. There was occasional, tragedies here and there, but it wasn't like Europe, where we were constantly running into physical threats. And then, of course, like World War II and the Holocaust and the horrible destruction there. So America gave us breathing room. We were never like restricted from any professions here, so we could go to college, go to university, get any kind of degree we want. And for the most part, most Americans have taken advantage of that. So it's strange. So we have this great prosperity, and you can make a very good living here, and you have freedom of religion, but in some ways it's kind of distance us from the Torah more than we've ever been, like in Jewish history. In some ways, like it's like our average knowledge of the Torah is so small and disconnected compared to what it's been. And in some ways, there's almost this like religious fanaticism with the political parties right now. Like, whatever political leaning someone has, they almost follow it with like a religious fervor. And like, only if you're, voting for that party are you good, you're a holy person. And if you vote for the other party, forget it. You're a heretic. You're a sinner. You're evil. There's no. I mean, these are political parties. I mean, we're talking about politicians. It's like these are not generally known as the most truthful people. These are not known as the most moral people. Unfortunately for the history of politics, it's not. There's not a huge, great moral standard there, but yet people follow these people with like this religious fervor, which is like unbelievable. And how are we caught up in all this? And it's almost like every battle we've ever had, we're facing it here. like we fought the war of Hanukkah against the Hellenists, against the Greek Hellenists, and they had this, they had the whole culture of science and sports and entertainment, and it's not necessarily, there's anything inherently wrong with that. I mean, there's great knowledge in some science, even though not every theory is true. But the theories, the theories that are true and proven and experimented have led to great, like, inventions in engineering and benefit for everyone. So there's positive qualities, and Greece was started by the children of Yavan, and he was a descendant of Japheth, the son of Noah, and there's great beauty. The name Japheth means beauty. So there's great beauty in Greece. Like, there's beauty in, the architecture, the buildings, and, that's come to the modern age, and you still see that influence, especially if you look at a place like Washington, D.C. You see it in the monuments and the national buildings. There's that beauty of Greece and Rome. And, there's something obviously very appealing, about entertainment. That's why you see, the drama, the comedy of the Greeks. And I mean, how big, like, Hollywood is, television, streaming now, and video games, are even bigger. And that's just storytelling, entertainment, and the music, and all that, all the beauty of the arts. And then the thrill, and the thrill of the combat of sports, and you see how big, like, all the leagues are, Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, and beyond, even soccer now, even soccer in America, and everything. I mean, just everything. So there's every battle we've ever fought, we're fighting here. And maybe that's why we're so overwhelmed and we're so distracted. And maybe it is a little bit of this golden calf. There's the allure and the enticement. But what will it take to, like, wake us up? I mean, I don't know, personally, like, the idea of Trump versus Biden again. I know some people are very, very politically, like, driven, but I want something better. I'm sick of just picking, like, the best of the worst. I want someone good. Like, I want a leader that I really believe in. I want a leader that's honest and good and wants to uplift people, and not just about enriching themselves or uplifting themselves. A leader that's truly about uplifting everyone. And the greatest leader is, in all this wonders of creation, and Hashem's not credited. We have a world where all the wonders of Hashem's creation, people, nature, the wonders of nature. And nature is Hashem created the Teva. Hashem created nature. It's not a force on its own. It's something controlled. It's something created. But the world's not giving credit to Hashem, and that there's one infinite being that's created everyone, and that sense of connection between ourselves and this infinite being, and then the connection between each other and the connection between nations, like, it's all lost. It's all broken right now because the source of it all is not being recognized. When we don't recognize that we're all created from this one infinite being, and there's the unity to all of creation, then of course we can't have unity, we can't have peace, we can't have true shalom, until it gets. But so one tremendous gift that we were given is Shabbos, is Shabbat, and Shabbat Shalom. Like, Shabbos is peace, it is harmony. It was the fulfillment of the 6 days, all coming together in the seventh day. And that's the other extraordinary thing, with all the affluence and all the education we could have, but everyone's just so much economic pressure that everyone's under, and even though people have wealth, they don't feel like they have so much free time, or we don't see, as the Torah is, that's the main, like, we're working to have the free time, to have the time to learn the Torah, to do the mitzvos. That's the essence of life. And Shabbos is the essence of the week, every week. And it's the essence of all creation. And every Shabbos, we're remembering that Hashem created it all. And when Shabbos is lost, when most Jewish people are not even, I mean, why are we not all celebrating Shabbos? How did that happen? I mean, where along the line, and what's it going to take to wake us all back up? That we see that's a special thing. The Torah is all these are special gifts, amazing gifts. And why are we not seeing it? And what's it going to take us to return? What's it going to take us to wake up? Is this Shabbos Shuvah going to be the one? Is this Yom Kippur going to be the one? We're going to truly get Kapara and this Gullus? And that's the other thing. Do most of us even feel like we're even in Gullus, in exile anymore? Because that's scary. That how many of us don't feel like we're in exile? Don't feel like we need to get out of here? And it's getting, the government's getting they want more and more control for whatever reason. I mean, I think it's like, I think it's a danger. Some of it's a dangerous reason. It's like a Tower of Babel reason, because in sense, like the In God We Trust or the New Copidus crowd, it's really one or the other. It's really the Sitra Kedusha, In God We Trust, the side of holiness, or it's the Anut Copidus, Novo Ordo, and that's the Sitra Achra. That's the other side. That's the side of spiritual impurity. It really is, in a way, it's like the light side and the dark side, And there's no in between. There's really no in between. It's either we're creating a world where there's knowledge of Hashem, and we're doing the mitzvos, and we're creating a better world, and then we're really working towards shalom. Or there's this other side that's trying to convince people that God doesn't exist. And we see there's like a real deterioration, and that side's been ruling for hundreds, like 400 to 500 years of enlightenment. I don't even know how long now. I think the flood was in like 1656. I don't know if I'm getting correct, the Jewish calendar, and in 1656 of this current calendar that we're using, the Roman calendar we're using, the flood of enlightenment started. The flood of this idea of this atheism. And it's had a horrendous effect. So think about it, since 1656 until now, 2023. Think about how long that is, and society's breaking down. You can't a society with no fear of God. There's nothing people won't do. People have no respect for each other, and it's not a great. It's not good. But on the other side, you have a reawakening somewhat. That people are trying to get closer to God, and trying to understand, the Torah more, and see what it is, the blueprint of creation, and how do we fix it all? How do we create that? The whole goal is to get back to Gan Eden. The whole goal is to bring the Garden of Eden back into the world. That's the plan for a world, not this chaos, not this breakdown. That's just a step on the way. So I don't know what it'll take, but B'ezrat Hashem, we all start to feel like a reawakening, the Shabbos Shuvah, and we start to work and figure out, like, what do we need to do, to get rid of our stuff, our junk. What's holding us back? What's holding us back? What's holding us back from learning more Torah, or doing more mitzvos, or being closer to Hashem? What's holding us back? And that holds us back from everything. It holds us back to how we feel about ourselves, the relationship with ourselves. It can hold us back from, having close relationships with others. And it can hold us back, from having a close relationship with Hashem. But the opposite is also true. And the more we work on it, and the more we remove those blocks, like in Kabbalah, it's called the klipos, the spiritual impurity, the shells that are preventing the light of Kedusha, the light of holiness, from getting through. But when we remove those blocks, and Teshuvah, the amazing thing about Teshuvah is, when we break those blocks, when we crack those shells, the negative spiritual shells, we open up the light of Kedusha in, and then this is an incredible thing, even an Avera that we've done, if we regret it and we fully do Teshuvah for it, and we're not going to do it anymore, Hashem turns the Avera into a mitzvah, which is an incredible concept. And we'll see, and B'ezrat Hashem, we'll see the coming Mashiach soon. We'll wake up, and And then we'll also return to Eretz Yisrael. We'll return to our home, which we've been away from so long. All right, so everyone should have a restful and a peaceful and a productive Shabbos Shuvah. And we should all return to the beauty of Shabbos. We should have great kapara, great atonement we get on Yom Kippur. And we should all have a Gemara Chasima Tova. We should be sealed in the book of life. And I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.